Here are the top 5 storylines from the Orlando Magic's Game 4 win over the Detroit Pistons. All in the details. In the NBA's regular season this year, teams were 0-16 when shooting under 35% from the field and under 27% from three-point range in the same game. But just in the last couple days, the Toronto Raptors in their Game 4 win over Cleveland and the Orlando Magic in their Game 4 win over Detroit each won despite those low shooting marks. How did they do it? Pretty much the same exact way. Both the Raptors and Magic took 10 more floor shots than their opponents by limiting turnovers, forcing the other team into a lot of turnovers, and controlling the offensive glass. They both committed just 12 turnovers, while the Cavs had 18 and the Pistons had 20. The Raptors had 21 offensive boards, and the Magic had 16 of them. The Bane and Kane Show. The two signature shots the Magic made in Game 4 came from Desmond Bane and Jamal Cain. First, with a little under 9 minutes left and the Pistons applying heavy backcourt pressure, Cain saw an opening as he was dribbling up the floor, accelerated ahead, and went right at Jalen Duren, posterizing him with a thunderous one-handed slam. Later on, with the Magic up just 3, Bane got just enough space following a Wendell Carter Jr. ball screen to square up from long distance, and then proceeded to bank in the dagger 3 with 1:16 remaining. Clutch defense. The Magic's defense was phenomenal all night, but just like in Game 3, when they held the Pistons scoreless in the final 3 minutes, they raised their intensity a few more notches down the stretch. In the final 5 minutes, Detroit went 1 of 10 from the field and had 2 turnovers. In the fourth quarter as a whole, the Pistons made just 6 of their 22 floor shots, missed all 8 of their threes, and turned it over 4 times. Franz injury. Franz Wagner was subbed out of the game with 1:34 left in the third quarter and didn't return because of right calf soreness. It's unclear the extent of this injury. Wagner did tell reporters he will have an MRI on Tuesday. Wagner had missed 47 out of 51 games from December 8th through March 31st because of a left high ankle sprain he originally suffered on December 7th. Throughout this series, he has done an incredible job defending Cade Cunningham, who has made just 6 of his 18 floor shots with Wagner contesting. Franz also made those 2 clutch shots late in Game 3. Rare opportunity. The Magic, with a commanding 3-1 series lead, are hoping to become just the 7th-8th seed in NBA history to win a first-round playoff series. The last time it happened was in 2023 when Miami beat Milwaukee. They're also looking to become the 5th team to knock a 60-plus win team out in the first round. The last time it happened was in 2011 when the Grizzlies eliminated the 61-win Spurs. The others that did it were the Warriors in 2007 against the 67-win Mavs, the Rockets in 1995 against the 60-win Jazz, and the Nuggets in 1994 against the 63-win Sonics. So that wraps up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.
Yeah, we in the O. Lights glow. Game time.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Kendra Douglas alongside Savage Says, and we are going to get you ready for tonight's game. A very important, a very pivotal, a very amazing game for this Magic squad as they are in Detroit taking on the Pistons. And I mean, Dan, this sounds crazy that we are here in this moment, but it's real. It's happening. This Magic team has made it this far, and they have the opportunity to put this series away here tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be an easy task, but when you look at the task at hand, it's the chance to upset a number one seed in the NBA Eastern Conference. There's only, a handful of times that's happened over the course of history. They'll have 3 chances to do it, but would love to do it on the first try. Give much needed rest to guys like Franz Wagner, who's trying to get healthy, and give the team and Orlando franchise their first second round trip since 2010. So a lot of opportunity at stake for this Magic team, and boy, do they sound like they're excited for it.
Yeah, tonight's game will be on Amazon Prime with the pregame show starting at 6:30 and tonight's game tipping off at 7 p.m. So we're going to get you ready for that right now. On the court, you're seeing guys like Desmond Bane, Paolo Banchero getting ready for tonight's game, which is what we want to see. Now, we're going to address Franz Wagner, but I think before we do address Franz Wagner, let's take a look at those highlights from the last game to put the Magic up 3-1 in this series. That's what we want to get to, and that's what we want to talk about, because at the end of the day, both teams struggled from the floor, but Detroit, they shot 37.8% from the floor. Orlando, 32.6% from the floor. So this was very much a defensive game, but the Magic still able to force those 16 turnovers. What do you think this has said about how the Magic have really bought into this is a new season? This is a new gear. They're turning it up because defensively we saw what they could do. And also that third quarter was pivotal for this team.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head there. Defense, forcing the Pistons into 20 turnovers that lead to 23 Magic points. Those are the kind of numbers that Magic head coach Jamal Mosley loves to see. And, for a team that's talked about defense throughout the entire course of the season, back all the way, heck, into training camp, summer league, as far back as you want to go. They said that, defense is going to be their identity. That's how they're going to win. And how would they look to generate offense? By their defense. And that's exactly what they did last game. When you hold a team, a number one seed, to 88 points in the NBA postseason, that's special. And that's the kind of night the Magic had. I thought they did a great job on Cade Cunningham. Franz Wagner was one of the players who was instrumental in that. But to hold him to a 7 for 23 night, just 3 from 11 shooting from the outside, and forcing him to 8 turnovers with only 6 assists, a negative assist to turnover ratio, those are the kind of numbers you want to see. And boy, if they could replicate that tonight in Detroit, they'll have a chance to advance.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. The Magic able to grab game 4, 94-88, the final, I'm thinking of the other games. So many games that have happened within the Magic that I'm thinking of the last one. But either way, the Magic able to get a big win in this one. I was reading some of the comments too. So multitasking clearly not my strongest suit at this very moment.
But you had it right on the mark, 98-88.
Sorry, yes. Sorry,
Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
I'm thinking of there's a lot of games. We've gone through a long season, Dan.
Yes,
a long season. 94-88, yes, the final score. The Magic out rebounding Detroit in this one, 52-49. The assist, of course, that's something that's been, a favor for Detroit. They've been really good at facilitating and getting everyone involved, but still, the shooting percentage and everything from the floor, just not where the Magic wanted it to be, but ultimately, you got to keep shooting, you got to keep trying. And I think Desmond Bane did a great job of that. Some of the comments I want to get to, because we are going to talk about Desmond Bane and we're going to talk about Paolo Banchero, but everyone is so hyped and so excited about Jamal Cain and what he's been able to do. Of course, they've been saying he's been so good. He's been so instrumental. He's been, I think, the guy who we didn't know could, saw a glimpse, and you saw what he could do coming off the bench, but he's been really pivotal in this series.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In playoff series, you need X factors. You need guys who can swing the course of a game, which in turn will swing the course of the series. Because if you get a guy to step up just one game to play above his level, above expectation, that can win you a game. And Jamal Cain was that for this Orlando Magic team in Game 4. Now they need another player to step up and do the same thing in Game 5. And whether that is Jamal Cain again or one of the other Magic players up and down the roster, they need a guy, especially with Franz Wagner limited and out, to really step up into that role and help make up for some of that loss, and also give the Magic team enough of a boost to advance to the second round.
Some of the comments you guys are giving me, Knowles86 says, Kendra, one more. Oh my gosh, I feel you. I feel you. Another one, Joanne says, I got my hat on. Love that one. And then another one, I love, Will Dawson says, Mr. Savage, good evening from Orlando.
Shout out, Will.
I know. A couple other comments. Orlando's going to bring it home this year. Love that energy. And then CEO says, let's go Magic. Let's go Magic everywhere. I'm screaming, let's go Magic. We're all screaming, let's go Magic, as the Magic look to get a win here tonight against the Detroit Pistons. Last one, KR Solano says, let's make history. Number 8 seed. It ain't nothing but a number. So yes, exactly. I think that's the best way to put it, honestly, because this is a challenge where you're taking on the number 1 seed, but the Magic have shown they can play up against this squad. This series has matched very, very well against each other. And part of that has been the way Desmond Bane has performed. His performance in Game 4, I think definitely was one where you're looking at how, he wasn't really making shots early on, but still, as soon as he let it go, as soon as they were flying in, led the team in scoring, 22 points, 5 of 10 from the 3-point range. He has clearly figured out a way that even if shots aren't going down where he thinks they need to go down, he'll find a way to make it happen for this team.
Yeah, no, what did the Magic talk about needing so much in the offseason was improved 3-point shooting. And while they only shoot 25.7% as a team from beyond the arc, Desmond Bane goes 50% from downtown, going 5 for 10, nearly outnumbered the Pistons, who are 6 for 30 from downtown by himself, with 5 triples of his own. So the Magic are getting everything and more that they need from Desmond Bane that they expected when they made that trade. And so just so great to see him have those 2 games at Kia Center that were tremendous from both beyond the arc, from scoring the ball. If he can now carry that rhythm over into Detroit, that would be a huge step for the Magic to pull off an upset in this series and get another one.
Yeah, I love the comments that you mentioned. I love what Desmond Bane has done. But looking at the comments, a lot of people are going back to what you said about Jamal Cain, saying our X factor equals Jamal Cain, our secret weapon equals Jamal Cain. It's been a breakout year for Jamal Cain ultimately. So it's good to see that he is getting right for this Magic squad at the right time. Another one says, I went to my first game of the season on Monday, and one of the things I enjoyed about it is that I really wasn't thinking about the stats. I was just paying attention to how the game felt. Dan, I mean, we can talk about how that game felt. Fans, Magic fans, I got to give it to you guys. You all are coming up correctly. You're doing your big one. You've been so good on the road all season, but in these playoff games, oh my gosh, it has felt unreal. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, no question about it. We interact with so many people from other teams, that whether they're scouting the Magic or, from the league, different people from television networks that are all coming in during the course of the playoffs, and had a few people say to me that the environment was crazy, that they didn't expect it, that this was a top 5 environment in the NBA when it comes to the playoffs. So Magic fans showed up right. They wore the shirts. Those who didn't were guilt tripped into doing so, which I approve of. And, it was special, both games 3 and 4. And I think they helped swing the course of those games, because look, the Magic weren't making shots down the stretch of Game 4. So the only way to come out with the victory was to play better defense than the Pistons. And I think that home crowd fueled them and rewarded them for playing so hard on that end of the floor. And that's why the Magic were able to get enough stops, which led to enough offense to come away in a rock fight. I mean, a 94-88 victory. That's throwback NBA hoops. I love it. They were able to get the victory. We heard guys up and down the roster said they're comfortable, totally fine with that type of win. And it showed. And it's led to a 3-1 series lead for the Magic with the chance to eliminate the Pistons tonight.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the Pistons warming up right now. Cade Cunningham, who continues to lead in scoring for that Detroit Pistons squad. 25 points for him in that last game. Had 9 turnovers, which was insane himself. And you see Mo Wagner also getting ready. Talk about role players. This is a guy that loves to just stand up, cheer for his guys, get them hyped up as much as he can. It'll be all hands on deck as the Magic look to get a win here tonight. But hey, listen. Desmond Bane had a great game. Paolo Banchero, playoff P. And I would like to say, happy birthday, God Shamgod. It's his birthday. How about you guys get a win for God Shamgod here tonight in this one? But it'll be really hard to stop Cade Cunningham. But you have guys, especially with Franz Wagner, dealing with the injury. But you have guys like Paolo Banchero, who has continued to have a really good performance as well in this playoff series. 18 points, 8 rebounds in that game. I don't know if we can say anything more about this team. One thing I liked what he said after the game was, yeah, he understood that offensively the team wasn't together, but at this point, it's just a will to win. Like, you just got to figure out how to win. That's honestly the mindset with this group.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, Paolo today at shoot around said, the group realizes they'll be without Franz Wagner tonight, and they just have to come out with a next man up mentality. He said, they've had guys come off the bench like Jamal Cain and play well this series, defend at a high level. And so they're going to have to turn to a trio of guys to make up for the absence of Franz tonight. And, they're fully ready to go. They realize he's one of their best players, as P said, and you're not going to make up for everything that he does. But at the same time, they believe that they've got guys who fill this role and other guys that could step up as well. And look, injuries have brutalized this Magic regular season. We dealt with it all regular season. But the one silver lining in that is, look, they had a 44-game span there where they learned to play without Franz Wagner and how to earn victories in that span. And they're going to have to lean on that experience tonight in probably the most hostile, critical environment and hungry team that they've faced all season in what they'll see in this Pistons squad tonight.
Yeah, Detroit is literally, backs up against the wall. This is going to be a huge game for them as well. So that they're going to be coming out firing. You got guys like Anthony Black, who, I think he's looking for a good performance in this game. I think he's looking for a makeup game. But I do want to talk about Franz Wagner. So let's give a little bit of an update and look at his last 3 games in the playoff series. So as we know, he will not be in this game due to a calf strain. We'll be missing game 5, but looking at his numbers and what he was able to do within these, he was averaging 16.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists in the series so far. What do you lose when you have a guy like Franz Wagner not in the mix?
Yeah, I mean, he was just rounding back into form after missing 47 of his last 51 games, from that December 8th through March 31st stretch due to that left high ankle sprain he suffered in New York. And where I really thought his biggest contribution, because you could look at the offensive numbers, he was up there in scoring, had that big stretch in game 1 down the stretch where, he scored 11 of his 18 points in that fourth quarter. You could look at that big 5-point stretch he had at the end of game 3. But what I really thought was his defense on Cade Cunningham that's made the mark. And that'll be the thing the Magic need to make up for the most, because, coming into that game where he got injured, he had the best defensive field goal percentage of any player in the NBA that's guarded up against at least 40 attempts. He's 3rd in the NBA in steals in the playoffs, 7th in deflections. So he's really led that defensive charge that's made Cade Cunningham so inefficient, because even though Cade is first in the East in scoring in the playoffs and it has been so dangerous, he's getting a high usage rate. And at the same token, over the last 3 games, Cade has 24 turnovers, which is the most giveaways in a 3-game span in the playoffs since turnovers were first tracked in 1977-78. So that just tells you the kind of level that Franz Wagner is playing at defensively and the kind of problems he's given an MVP candidate like Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable because one of the comments here from David Magic Hugo says, Orlando Magic's not your ordinary 8 seed. I completely agree with that. This is not your ordinary 8 seed taking on a number 1 seed. They are playing like they deserve to be the number 1 seed as well, which I think has helped them get to this point. I want to say, if you are now tuning in and locking in with us, you're watching Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Tonight's game, Game 5 of this playoff series, will be on Amazon Prime with coverage beginning at 6:30 and the game tipping off at 7 p.m. We are on all of our channels. Checking out TikTok real quick. Here was something really funny. Someone said, Knicks fans wishing Magic fans luck. Love that. Ooh. Okay. I know. They're just happy because they're like, we ain't got to see y'all. So that's one comment that we're getting. And of course, people saying they need Franz. They're excited, they're sad to see him out, but they're cheering on the Magic. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm looking at everything of what's going on. But let's get to some sound. Let's hear from the guys and what they had to say at shoot around today as they get ready for tonight's game against.
Look at it as a must-win game for us. Not to give them any life, be the most aggressive team like we've been for majority of the series. Not feel like it's a day off or a game off for us. Know they're going to be aggressive also, so exceed their physicality. I think it'll give us the best shot to win the game tonight.
It's playoff basketball, like the later it gets in the series, the more heightened the intensity and the focus gets. So yeah, just everybody's focused.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's finishing the job, not taking it for granted. Understanding why we got to this situation and just continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again. Not getting bored with the simple.
Taking game 1 in this building, how much more confidence do you have in this situation?
Yeah, we know we just got to execute, do what we do, and defend at a high level, and we're going to give ourselves a pretty good chance, to come out with the win. Obviously, being on their home court, it's going to be a little more difficult, but we did it in game 1 and felt like we did some good things in game 2 as well. We just gave up a bad run. So, we just got to come out and execute.
And we welcome you back to Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Kendra Douglas Savage says, I've been trying to get to all of y'all's comments and looking at everyone and everything that you guys are saying. You just heard guys like Wendell Carter Jr. and Paolo Banchero talking about tonight's game as they get ready to take on the Detroit Pistons in Game 5. So some comments I have been seeing from you all is let's go Magic. Of course, those are good ones. Right? We love to see that one. And then they want to see Anthony Black have a breakout game. I completely agree. I want to see AB have a breakout game in this one as well. It'll be really good to see AB, I think, bounce back in this one and help this Magic team, because when you don't have a guy like Franz Wagner, it really is going to be about getting help from all cylinders, from everybody. What would you want to see from AB in tonight's game?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, because it's not going to be just one guy. Like, everybody's going to look at the starting lineup of who gets the start in Franz Wagner's place. But really, it's going to be a trio of guys that Magic head coach Jamal Mosley leans on to fulfill that absence. And that's going to be Jamal Cain, Tristan Da Silva, and Anthony Black. And where I think Anthony Black has to pick up the workload is on the defensive end. And we've seen him so far. He's averaged 22.6 points per game. He hasn't done, anything offensively that's matched the kind of level he had pre-abdominal injury. He hasn't really found that rhythm yet, but this could provide the type of opportunity that allows him to get back there. But what he has done in those limited minutes is be among the league leaders in steals, 1.8 per game, and deflections, 3.8 per contest. So he has come up with big defensive plays, and I think getting some additional run tonight can allow him to turn that defense into offense. And when we see AB doing that, that usually translates to the rest of his game. If he can get steals, come out the other way, and finish at the rim in transition, he's one of the Magic's best transition scorers alongside Franz Wagner. If he can do that, then that can get the rest of his offensive game to open up and perhaps find that rhythm that he had when he was in the conversation for the league's most improved player this season.
I know. I really was hoping that he would be able to come back and snag that one because he had such a great start to the season. And you hate to see that he hasn't played at the level that he was before that injury. But I think this is one of those things too where he'll come back aggressive next season as well and be able to help this team out as much as he can through this series. So one of the comments that I am seeing from everyone, super duper fly, called us, Savage says, and me, that we are his good luck charms.
I
And
like that.
yes, and that every
There
time
are good luck charm, vice
yes,
versa.
there are. Yes, for sure. And that every time they watch us that we win. So I love that. More comments from you guys. I just have to say, Magic fans, you guys are going hard in the comments. I am attempting to get to all of them as much as I can. I love that you guys continue to have conversations amongst each other because it shows that there is a community we're building. So believe me, I am attempting to get through y'all's comments so we can talk a bit about what y'all are saying. Okay, let's talk about Cade Cunningham though. We already showed him a little bit. We talked a little bit about him. Let's talk about how aggressive do you think Cade can even be more in this series? Game 5, backs against the wall. This is really an opportunity for them to show, like they're not done yet. But at this point, you got to be a little deflated as you go back home attempting to win a game here tonight.
Yeah, so often on this show, because this is a Magic show, we look through the Magic lens, but let's take a look through the Pistons lens for a second. You're down 1-3 in a series. You feel like you earned a number 1 seed. You're a 60+ win team. Those teams often win in the playoffs. And, if you're down 1-3, what you're trying to do is find reasons for hope. Well, number 1, 2 of the next 3 games are at Little Caesars Arena. And on the flip side, this Magic team tonight is down Franz Wagner. So what does that provide? Well, Franz Wagner's a guy that's caused Cade Cunningham to be extremely inefficient. It's caused him to have a high number of turnovers. Well, the Magic don't have that guy tonight. So now you're going to expect that, whether it's Jamal Cain on him, whether it's Anthony Black, whether it's Tristan Da Silva, Cade Cunningham's going to go at those guys as hard as possible and make them prove to him that they're on the same level defensively and that they can equally cause him to be inefficient. So the task is going to be in the hands of those guys to try to slow him down tonight, because you sure know he is not going to be want to be eliminated from the playoffs, especially in his home building, because boy, I'm sure those guys are hearing the criticism both nationally and locally right now.
They sure are. And that was one of the comments too, is people are criticizing Detroit and what they've done so far because they have expected more from them in this. And you can see why. I mean, they had such a stellar season. The way that JB Bickerstaff has turned that Detroit team around, earning that number 1 seed. You get it. You understand. So I get why the media attention's a little disappointed of what's been going on for Detroit. But hey, the Magic, they came in with a great defense as well. It was just injuries that really hurt them throughout this season. So you can't underestimate them. One of the comments that I saw on TikTok, and it's a great segue, is Cade is the only consistent scorer. So how's your number 2 option, Tobias Harris? Let's get into Tobias Harris and what he did in that last game. Netted 20 points in game 4 against the Magic. He is getting a little chippy as well. You can tell that this is they're frustrated, but he is also kind of their second scorer that you kind of depend on in this series as well.
Yeah, no, and what you want to do to those guys is keep them going relatively inefficiently. So he had 20 points, but still 8 for 17 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3-point range. Those are the kind of numbers, if you're the Magic, you can live with. So if other guys are getting theirs, but they're doing it inefficiently, if they're unable to score from beyond the arc while still putting up contested threes, those are things with the Magic you can live with. You hold them under 88 points, under 90 points. That's the kind of ballpark that the Magic are more than comfortable with in earning a victory tonight. And where they have to still find a way to do is get Cade Cunningham to commit 6+ turnovers. Can they get Jalen Duren, who had 4 turnovers in that outing? Can they still make him struggle to find his rhythm? Can they get guys, like their secondary ball handlers, whether it be a Sir Thompson or guys, coming off their bench like Jenkins, to turn the ball over as well? Because when they do that, That allows the Magic to get into an offensive groove. And on a night where they'll be without Franz Wagner, those turnovers into offense could be so huge in swinging this game.
Yeah, it should be a really good game. The Magic looking to take on the Detroit Pistons for game 5 of this series. That game, again, going to be on Amazon Prime with coverage beginning at 6:30 and the game tipping off at 7 p.m. But we thank you guys for continuing to lock in with us on Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. All right, Dan, we get to the best part of the show. Let's get to your storylines. What do you have for us for tonight's game?
Yeah, number one, Kendra, this is an obvious one. Match Detroit's intensity. The Magic have outplayed Detroit for all but be it 2 quarters this series, and one of them was in game 2 where the Pistons went on a 30-3 run in that third quarter that gave Detroit game 2. And you could expect the Pistons to come out with that same kind of intensity that they did in the second half when they were so fearful of going down 0-2 in this series, that the Pistons are going to bring that out of the gate tonight. So you're going to have to match that and punch back with your best punch to counter. Next, keep Cade under control. We've talked about that as nauseum. He's going to get his points offensively, but what you have to do is make him do it inefficiently, both shooting from the field and keep those turnover numbers high. When the Magic have him in that 7-8+ range, they've done so well. And lastly, make history. Give Franz Wagner some rest. How's the best way to do that? With a win tonight, the Magic have the opportunity to become the first Magic team since 2010 to advance to the second round. Just the 7th ace seed in NBA history to win a first round playoff series. And at the same time, they could just be the 5th team in any conference to eliminate a 60+ win team in the first round. Last time that happened was 2011 when the Memphis Grizzlies eliminated the 61 win Spurs. The Magic can join that exclusive company tonight if they get a win in Detroit.
I love all of those storylines. I'm going to get to some more comments before we get out of here and get everyone ready for tonight's game. One of my favorite ones, because we know it's a good one. Unlikely Jellyfish says, we need Eric at the free throw area tonight. I need to know. If Eric is at that game, we need to know.
Leave no stone unturned at this point. Just break out all the stops. Eric, Hank, all the super fans in Magic Nation, just roll them out there. Let's turn Detroit into the 407.
Yes, another comment. So yes, looking ahead, real quick. So Joanne just asked, who's next after playing the Pistons so much? So the Magic, when they do win this series, they will be playing the winner of the Cleveland and Toronto series. So that's something to look out for, of who they could be playing in that second round, Cleveland or Toronto. So that's going to be a good one to watch out for. That's a series too that I did not expect to go the way that it's gone, but yeah, it has. And I got to say, shout out to the Raptors, because they said we are not done yet either, even though I for sure thought it was going to be a clean sweep by Cleveland.
Yeah, no, if you want my opinion, if as a Magic fan of how to root for things, what you want is a Magic win tonight. And then you want that series to go 7 games to give Franz Wagner as much window time as possible to heal that calf. So when the Magic go into that second round series, they're well rested and can do it with a full crew.
I love that right there. And that's going to do it for us on Courtside Countdown presented by Hard Rock Bet. Kendra Douglas Savage says, thank you guys for joining us here tonight. Up next, the Magic will be going head-to-head against the Detroit Pistons on Amazon Prime, coverage beginning at 6:30 with the game tipping off at 7 p.m. Magic fans, I'm hoping that the next time we talk, I'm either excited about the semifinals, or we are talking about game 6, but at home. So it'll be a good one no matter what, but we're excited that we get to lock in with you guys and keep it going. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will talk with you guys soon.